Gucci, Gucci 2 times, say it 2 times. Gucci, Gucci 2 times, say it 2 times. Gucci, Gucci 2 times.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Well, that was President Trump, if you can believe this, only a week ago tonight. The comment sparking a week of heated debate, protests, and division across the country. And tonight, Trump is not backing down, renewing his call that the flag be respected.
Well, I've spoken to other owners, and I really think it's coming together. I noticed last night, or I was told, I didn't see it, but I heard everybody stood for the national anthem. And that shows respect for our country, our flag, and for the national anthem. So, you know, I'm very happy. I heard that, and they should stand. You have to stand. It's our national anthem. You have to stand.
Let's go back to Trace Gallagher. He's live in our West Coast newsroom with what we can expect for game day this weekend. Trace?
And Sandra, the president is correct. During last night's game between the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears, none of the players on either team took a knee during the national anthem. Instead, they all linked arms. The Packers also asked their fans to link arms in a display of unity, and some did, but many did not. The same unity apparently did not extend to the rest of the country, because television ratings for the CBS debut of Thursday Night Football last night were down 13% from the CBS Thursday Night Football debut from last year. Now, last weekend's NFL ratings were actually up 3% from the same time last year, but it's important to note that during the same weekend last year, there was a presidential debate that captured 84 million viewers. Overall this year, NFL ratings are down 13%, which for the NFL translates to tens of millions of lost dollars. As for protesting the anthem, Fox News polls show that 55% believe kneeling is inappropriate. That's actually down from last year, when 61% thought kneeling was wrong. But the increase in those who say it's okay to kneel come primarily from African Americans, women, and Democrats. Meantime, the NFL is very aware of how this is playing across the country, which is why NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell held a meeting this week with some team owners and players. Those who were there say the commissioner was mainly listening to the various opinions, and that he did not push for players to stop kneeling during the games. But it's also important to note that visiting this week, those who were on hand say the New York Giants, their owner, Mara, said that he would like everybody to stand, but he also respects those who decide at the time to take a knee. Sandra.
Trace Gallagher, thank you very much for that. Here with more, Ben Shapiro, editor-in-chief of dailywire.com, and Richard Fowler, syndicated radio host and a Fox News contributor. Ben, I'll start with you first. You know, when you saw that show of solidarity, that the players linking arms, then the fans linking arms in support of the flag and our military, did you see this as a win for the president?
Yeah, I do think it was a win for the president politically, for him. I'm not sure it's a win for the country overall, because I think that the issue is divisive. But what it looks like from just a 30,000-foot view is that Colin Kaepernick and a bunch of other NFL players and former NFL players had knelt for the anthem. President Trump said he hated that and the NFL should do something about it. A bunch of the players, more of them, knelt, and now none of them are kneeling anymore. Now they're all standing arm in arm for the anthem. So it looks like Trump did something, and now the NFL reversed itself. That was a mistake on the part of the NFL players. They made a mistake by allowing Trump to polarize the issue in the first place. They never should have boycotted the anthem or knelt for the anthem. I said this all along. If they wanted to show they didn't like what Trump had to say, they could have just stood for the anthem next to the guys who were kneeling for the anthem, and that would have been that. But instead, they decided to leap over themselves and cut off their nose to spite their faces. It was a problem for them, and now they've had to reverse,
Richard,
and it looks like Trump made them do it.
I'll ask you the question so many are wondering, as you know, this country loves football. We love sports, and we want to see game day come back, and we want to see the focus go back onto the game. Do you think the fun's going to come back this weekend?
I mean, I think
I think it'll take a little while. Sorry.
Let me get Richard in here.
I think we have to wait and see here, but I think we have a larger contextual problem outside of football, and that is if you look at the poll that Trace just talked about, and there's another poll that came out that shows that 82% of African Americans thought that what these NFL players did was bold, brave, and courageous, and 59% of Caucasians thought that these players were wrong. And when you take it by age, 59% of Americans who are under the age of 45 thought these players were right, and vice versa.
Hold on, so let's actually bring in and cite some of the studies that are going on here. Remington Research Group found 64% of voters agree President Trump and want players to stand for the anthem during these games. The survey also found 80% of voters want less politics in sports. 51% say they're watching less football than in previous years. Ben, isn't that what we're hearing? People just say, let's just leave politics out of sports.
I think that's right, and I think that it's important to note when Richard says that people are siding with people like Colin Kaepernick, they weren't back in September 2016. Right? In September 2016, 40%, according to Reuters, 40% of black folks, people of color, were saying that they didn't agree with Colin Kaepernick's protest. Today, that number's down to 13%, which shows you that a lot of this is a reaction directly to Trump, not in favor of Colin Kaepernick's protest. That's not what I said at all. What I said is 82% of African Americans are siding with NFL players that kneeled on Sunday, which says to me that African Americans are saying that these players have their First Amendment right, just like you have your First Amendment right to speak.
Right, and we've had that discussion many times this week.
So these players have the right to kneel, and we should respect that right. And I think these players have been very clear. This is not about the anthem. This is not about our veterans. This is about protesting racial injustice. And if 82% of African Americans say they feel as though there's racial injustice in this country,
but the NFL is a business and it is a brand. And I will remind you of that. And Ben, when you look at the ratings for Thursday Night Football on CBS, they were down 13%. You're seeing attendances dropping. Ticket sales so far have sort of unwavering, but there has been change in the wake of this.
100%. There was a study that just came out in the last couple of hours showing the ticket sales for this weekend were down something like 31%. I mean, this is a massive hit for the NFL, and there's a reason why all the players are now standing. I mean, Richard, if this were going so well, then why aren't the players doing the same thing this week they did last week? And they should all just stay in the locker room for the anthem.
I'll give you another brand. It's called the Montgomery Bus Company in the Rosa Parks boycott. That was also a brand. And what these players understand is when you hurt the brand, things start to change. It's economic impact.
The wrong way,
right?
Dude.
Pardon?
No, the wrong way, because now the NFL is coming out against them. The Montgomery Bus Company caved to Rosa Parks as it should have.
No, they did not. The Supreme Court, let's get your history right, Ben. The Supreme Court forced the Montgomery Bus Company to cave to Rosa Parks.
So, Richard, let me ask you this question then. Let me ask you then.
Thank you.
This weekend, what would you like to see happen? Do you want to see sports get back to sports and football be played without politics in it? What do you want to see?
I mean, for me, I think there's space for both. I think football should get back to football, and we as a country should have a real conversation about how we solve racial injustice. I think Ben and me can both agree, whether it's white people or black people, there is a problem with excessive force by police, and we should figure out how we solve it together.
All right, so Ben, we've got to leave it there, but do you think the president's...
Steve Holland, please. Reuters. Don't get nervous, Steve.
You were preoccupied with the NFL dealing with Puerto Rico. Why isn't that a fair assessment?
Well, I wasn't preoccupied with the NFL. I was ashamed of what was taking place because, to me, that was a very important moment. I don't think you can disrespect our country, our flag, our national anthem. To me, the NFL situation is a very important situation. I've heard that before. About was I preoccupied? Not at all. Not at all. I have plenty of time on my hands. All I do is work. And to be honest with you, that's an important function of working. It's called respect for our country. Many people have died. Many people. Many people are so horribly injured. I was at Walter Reed Hospital recently, and I saw so many great young people, and they're missing legs, and they're missing arms, and they've been so badly injured. And they were fighting for our country. They were fighting for our flag. They were fighting for our national anthem. And for people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful. So I will also say that, again, I read you part of his quote, but the governor of Puerto Rico is so thankful for the great job that we're doing. We did a great job in Texas, a great job in Florida, a great job in Louisiana. We hit little pieces of Georgia and Alabama. And frankly, we're doing, and it's the most difficult job because it's on the island. It's on an island in the middle of the ocean. It's out in the ocean. You can't just drive your trucks there from other states. And the governor said we are doing a great job. In fact, he thanked me specifically for FEMA and all of the first responders in Puerto Rico. And we're also mentioning with that the U.S. Virgin Islands. It was devastated. So we are totally focused on that. But at the same time, it doesn't take me long to put out a wrong, and maybe we'll get it right. I think it's a very important thing for the NFL to not allow people to kneel during the playing of our national anthem, to respect our country and to respect our flag.